know Star Trek has nothing to do with the spring, but I just felt like playing it. What's up, Fragrant World? Welcome back to another Stay Fresh production. My name is Justin Copeland. On this channel, Stay Fresh Productions, we talk about all things dealing with fragrances. If you have an interest in that kind of content, then welcome to the channel for you. You're in the right place. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you always get notified whenever I upload. And please hit that like button. It really means a lot. Helps out with my visibility across YouTube. Thanks so much in advance. Now, I'm here in this very great location. I love filming here. The only problem is my refrigerator is right next to me. So if it turns on, you will hear it. I apologize in advance. Hopefully we get done with this before it turns on. But in the meantime, good to see you, clock. We are talking about fragrances for the springtime. It is raining currently here where I am, but things are starting to warm up a little bit. The grass is getting greener, the trees are getting greener, and it's great to have fragrances that go with this time. These are going to be on the fresher side of things, but they can still have some complexity. This is a transition season. You can still get away with your slightly darker, sweeter, spicier scents. I would just wear them in the early springtime, which is kind of now when I'm filming this, and also maybe in the evening. You can still get away with things you might wear in the fall, in the spring, except things are now warming up a bit. So I do have some fragrances that cover kind of the entire gamut of the spring. A little disclaimer, I'm probably going to end up doing another one of these lists. I have so many great niche fragrances that I wanted to include, but this video happens to be in collaboration with a great decanting surface called Scents Angel. So I wanted to confine my picks on this list to fragrances that you can actually sample at their website. So there's a lot of fragrances that I do have that they don't currently carry, and again, I'll maybe do a video later on highlighting those fragrances too, but I do have some great picks here, and again, all of them you can sample at Scents Angel. Some of you might already be familiar with Scents Angel, but again, great decanting service, especially for niche fragrances. Great selection. They are constantly growing. They have a great website layout, and they do give you some nice little decants here. This is one they sent me. This is my number 10 spot. This is called Greenley from Parfum the Marley. Relatively new release. I requested this decant because I hadn't smelled it yet, and I figured this would be a great spring fragrance, and it is a great spring fragrance. It is very pleasant. It's a nice juicy green apple, sweetened kind of tart with some citrus in there. There's some mandarin orange and things like that. There's some woods in here. As it dries, it gets pretty nice. It's pretty woody, and it's quite mossy due to the oak moss in the base. There's quite a number of synthetic aroma chemicals in here. Things like cashmere and pomerose. We don't need to talk about exactly what they smell like, but if anything, it really does help with the performance of the scent. It'll last a little bit longer on the skin. Really pleasant. Honestly, at first spray, it reminds me a little bit of shampoo, like something like Garnier Fructis, which I used as a kid. So I get memories from that. That's my association. You may not have that association with this. Great scent, definitely worth checking out on Scents Angel. This is a 9 milliliter decant. You know, nice packaging here, nice little label. Very clearly marked. A nice thick heavy base of the decant. Really good stuff. And again, that is Greenley from Parfum the Marley. Again, if you're interested in checking this one out, not a bad idea to sample it at Scents Angel. Here at the number 9 spot, we have another decant from Scents Angel, and the rest of the list will be bottles that I currently own in my collection that you can buy samples of from Scents Angel. Here at number 9, this is one of the few fragrances I've smelled from Byredo. This is called Gypsy Water. And this is a favorite. I know a lot of people do love this fragrance. This is their 5 milliliter size for Gypsy Water. This is a really beautiful scent. It is characterized by a lot of juniper berry. You're gonna get that very bright, fresh gin and tonic kind of feel from it. There's some lemon in here. There's black pepper. It's a little spicy, a little zingy. As it dries, it gets pretty woody. It's a little sweet, almost dusty in a way. I think there's also some creamy orris root in here. Gives it that almost kind of powdery iris feel, but it's very much in the background. And there it is. Again, you're gonna have to bear with me here. This thing, it has to do its job. I get it. I'm not mad at you, but I am, but you know, we're just gonna let it go. We're gonna keep going. Gypsy Water is a beautiful scent, perfect for the springtime. Fairly light. This stuff is not strong. This is not going to last a very long time. I was barely getting 5 hours on my skin, but beautiful aura as it, kind of lingers in the air around you for a little bit. You'll get a good hour or two maybe of it being in the air, being detectable. It is fairly light though, something to wear during the daytime, a little bit elegant, but also quite versatile and definitely unisex. And again, something you can check out at Sense Angel. All right, here at number 8. This is pretty low on the list because this is something I would really save for the summertime, but it does have some components to it that can allow you to get away with it in the spring, no problem. It is primarily based on citrus, which is again a very summery component, but there's some green elements like mint in here, and there's also some floral elements as well. We're talking about from Tom Ford, I think the discontinued Mandarino di Amalfi Acqua. So not a bad idea to sample this at Sense Angel, again, because buying a bottle of this is pretty tough. Again, it's been discontinued, unfortunately. Beautiful, again, citrus floral scent. It's quite complex. You have basil in here, which again adds a nice herbaceousness to it. You also have some orange blossom, which is quite prominent, provides that orangey floral nuance that meshes very well with the mandarin orange as per the name here. And it dries down to somewhat of kind of a complex base, some ambery nature in there, a little bit of labdanum, even supposedly some civet, an animalic quality, which I don't quite get, but hey, they say it's in there. Smells great. It's quite fresh and citrusy, but floral and kind of soft, but also bright and very inviting. Not the greatest performance, but not the worst. And again, something you can sample very easily down at Sense Angel. Up next, wow, this one is interesting. This is my little 10 milliliter size of Clive Christian X for Men. Now, funnily enough, this actually smells quite similar to Roja Parfums Reckless Pour Homme, which is a great scent, really, really elegant, very unique. Maybe not so much if these two smell quite alike, but this is actually a touch less money, just a little bit. Both of them are very expensive, but this is just a little bit less. You can actually sample both over at Sense Angel, so you can get them both, put them side by side, see which one you like better, and see if you want to go in on a full bottle of one of them. But not a bad scent for the spring. This is one that I would save for the cooler nights, and very much an evening scent, very elegant, very provocative, something that is gonna turn heads. And it has a good performance, it's gonna project, it's going to be smelled, you will make yourself known. Again, quite spicy, woody, and dry, kind of has this cheaper quality, and almost a hint of an animalic tinge in the background, but it's really not that prominent. That is Clive Christian X. Okay, here at number 6, one of my favorite fragrances in my collection, quite unique, maybe not the most quintessential spring scent, which is why it's, towards the middle of the list here, but again, something you can get away with at night or in the cooler times of the spring. This is Chergui from Serge Lutens. Man, this is elegant stuff. This is quite powdery. You gotta love powdery fragrances. Some people say it smells like baby powder. I get that vibe, but it doesn't last for too long. I get that maybe the first 10 minutes on the skin. After that, it is a resinous, ambery, kind of like rustic tobacco with some honey in there. The powderiness does come from the iris in here, but again, it doesn't last too long. Honeyed tobacco with this very interesting hay accord that adds this, again, almost rustic, woody, kind of earthy quality to it. It's gorgeous. Again, quite unique, quite unisex, very elegant stuff, and not that expensive, honestly, if you can buy it on the discounters, but you can save even more money by sampling it, again, at Sense Angel. That's Chergui. One of the favorites from the brand, nothing new, but I have always loved this stuff. All right, we're into the top 5 now. This is yet again a fragrance that you might associate more with the summertime, but I think you can get away with it in the spring because of its greener elements. There's also an Eau de Parfum version. This is the Eau de Toilette. The Eau de Parfum version, which you can also sample at Sense Angel, might even be better for the spring. So I recommend checking that one out. It's really beautiful. It's just a denser profile. But this is Philosykos from Diptyque. Gorgeous fig-based fragrance based on all parts of the fig tree, the wood of the fig tree, the leaves of the fig tree, as well as the fruit itself. A little bit of coconut sprinkled in there, which again makes it a little beachy, a little summery. Juicy, fruity, fresh, green, woody, bright, and again kind of coconutty. I would recommend checking out again that Eau de Parfum, which might be even better for the springtime. But This is a beautiful DNA for the warmer times of the year, something that is very uplifting. That is Philosykos from Diptyque. All right, here at number 4. This is the reason why I didn't just include Reckless from Roja Parfums on the list, because I think this one is even better for the spring. And I didn't want to have too many doubles of, fragrances from one brand. So I instead went with the Clive Christian. But from Roja Parfums, we're going with Vetiver, which again is carried on Scents Angel. This is the Parfum Cologne version. One of my favorite Vetiver scents for sure. Very classy stuff. It is fresh, but also dry. Has a lemony nature to it, kind of fresh and bright up top with citrus, but immediately fresh, woody, grassy, dry. Has a cooling nature to it, also a little bit smoky. Very similar to something like Tom Ford Grey Vetiver, which if you love that, this is most definitely the upgrade. This is the upgraded, more refined version of that. If you can imagine something smelling even better, even higher quality, that's gonna be Vetiver Parfum Cologne. Vetiver lover's dream here, but easy to wear. If you're not sure if you like Vetiver, this is a great one to start with, especially in the niche realm. That is Vetiver Parfum Cologne. Here at number 3, one of my favorites from Parfum de Marly, at least right now, for the warmer weather. I didn't want to have Greenley be the only one because it's a newer scent to me. It was just a decant. So I wanted to include one that I do actually really enjoy. Great performance for a fresh scent. You probably know what this is. This is Percival. I was between this and Leighton. Leighton is a beautiful scent. I love it. I'll probably include it in my other list. But for this one, I decided to go with something a little less talked about, which is Percival. But even though this one is pretty popular, but not quite as much as Leighton. Bears resemblance to something like Mont Blanc Legend or even Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce. Yes, it smells a little bit synthetic in a way, but it does have a lot of smoothness to it. It's based on a lot of musks and citrus. It's quite aromatic, maybe even a little bit woody, but mostly fresh and musky. With a little bit of citrus in there, not too sweet actually. Very appealing, again, great performance for a fresh scent. It really leaves a nice trail in the air. I've complimented people on this fragrance, and this is one that will probably get you a lot of compliments. I really enjoy it, and it's definitely something you can check out on Scents Angel if you haven't tried it yet. A great way to test it out before you go on a full bottle. That is Percival. All right, here at the second spot, man, this is a heavy hitter in my collection. One of my favorites in my collection period, and also probably my current favorite from the brand. This is Viking from Creed. Easy to overlook this one. People were expecting it to be the next Aventus. It didn't really live up to that, but a lot of people have come back around to it later and realized, man, this stuff is actually really good. It has a nice depth to it. It has a nice classic profile, almost like this barbershop kind of fougere-like profile. Lots of lavender and citruses, patchouli, sandalwood, a lot of pink pepper. It is very spicy. Even a little bit of this fresh kind of sweet rose in there. But again, lots of lavender. You gotta like lavender. Very aromatic, invigorating. Mint, also I forgot to mention, lots of mint in here. Smells a little bit, again, like an old school kind of masculine fougere, but with a modernity to it. And this one actually has decent performance. It doesn't seem to be too affected by all the reformulations as much as some of the other scents. Maybe because it is a newer fragrance, so they haven't really been changing it that much, but I'm sure it'll happen at some point if it hasn't already. If you have a newer bottle and you get terrible performance out of it, put that down in the comments so we know. But either way, it's pretty risk-free to try this in a decant form, which again you can do over at Scents Angel. My number 2 spot for the spring. This has got to be Creed Viking. Really love this stuff. And those of you who've been following the channel for at least the past several months, you probably know what this is. Man, this stuff is a stunner for the springtime. Probably one of the strongest fragrances I own in my collection while still being fresh and very green and uplifting. Not for everyone, but man, this is basically love its first sniff for me. This is Beach Hut Man from Amouage. We got the name of the fragrance on the side there. Wow. Kind of has this almost chypre vibe to it. Very fresh and green, based on a lot of complexity in here. A lot of green notes, maybe some ivy. There's some galbanum, which makes it kind of almost dusty and green. It has almost this creamy nature to it. It is quite smooth. As it dries down, it gets a little bit woody, actually quite woody. Again, it almost has this old school vibe to it. Very powerful, very powerful. This is a commitment. You spray this on, it will stay with you until the evening time. I promise you that, maybe even the next day. So not something you got to worry about in terms of performance, and I really appreciate it for that, while still being green and fresh and uplifting, perfect for the springtime. And again, something that you can sample down at Scents Angel. There's going to be a link down below, and you're going to be able to find all these fragrances there. So go get you some decants. That's Beach Hut Man. Okay, that is my spring niche list, at least this first one. I will have a designer list. I might even have a cheapie list as well. And again, we'll probably do another niche list because I have a bunch of other brilliant fragrances that you gotta know about, that you gotta check out for the springtime. But in the meantime, if you like the video, please like the video. It really means so much to me. And I wanna know what your favorite niche fragrance for the springtime is going to be. I'll probably ask you this again when I make the other video, but feel free to at least choose one now and then tell me one in the other video. But I want to know what you're going to be wearing from the niche side of things for the springtime. If you're wondering about this t-shirt, this is pretty new from Into the AM. I think they called this the Ocean Spray Tee. Really cool tie-dye. I've never really been into tie-dye, to be honest, but I'm digging this stuff. It fits well. I've already washed it, didn't lose any color or shape, and a great price on this, and I have a 10% off code for you down below. Check out Into the AM. I talk about them all the time, but I honestly can't stop talking about them. They just have great quality stuff, especially casual wear for the springtime. Link down below. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.